Hello and welcome to the IBA Group's video blog. As you see, we are not in the office, we are all working from home. And I would like first to introduce my colleague, Andrei Lepeyev, Director of the Mainframe Software Development Department. And we are also honored to have international guests, Mark Hillary and Peter Ryan. Mark Hillary is a long-standing industry analyst in the area of technology and customer experience management. He is also an author of 17 books. Mark is originally from Great Britain, but is currently located in São Paulo, Brazil. Peter Ryan is based in Montreal, in Canada. He is a prominent analyst in specifically in the areas like BPO, customer experience management, and global business services. The topic of our today's discussion is mainframe computer systems. Why is the subject suddenly so hot today and being discussed everywhere from Bloomberg to CNN? I am giving the floor to Mark.
Thanks, Irina. When I studied software engineering in the late 80s and early 90s, I had to study the difference between mainframe systems and the IBM PCs that were taking over the world in offices at that time. At my university, we did use a prime mainframe, but even 30 years ago, many of us at the time felt that the mainframe was a dinosaur because computing power was obviously coming to every desk with the PC. You might think that this is even more true today because we all carry around more computing power in our phones than NASA had when they put a man on the moon. But across the world, mainframes are still out there. They're still processing data for airlines, government agencies, and highly regulated industries such as banks. And these are industries quite often where rapid change is quite difficult. Now, IBM released their new Z15 just 7 months ago, so there's still new machines being launched. This has got the power to process 1 trillion web transactions a day. And you might think that large-scale computing power has all migrated to the cloud, but some companies are still using these enormously powerful mainframe devices. For many organizations, it's just too difficult to migrate away from their mainframe. The problem is today that computer science courses and students, they don't really bother studying mainframes. Mainframes are really just something that we read about in the history books. Students want to build mobile apps or games or code for computers that are widely used. I tried using Google earlier today to find a computer science course that actively includes mainframes, and I couldn't find any. So maybe they do exist, but they're well hidden. This means that there's a scarcity of resource for maintenance and improvement. The mainframes are still out there, but we haven't got the people to maintain and change them. What we're going to talk about today is this subject, this scarcity of resource, because there's still some areas of the world where mainframe expertise can be found. I'm now going to hand over to Peter.
Mark, thank you very much, and thanks very much to IBA Group for inviting me to take part in this very important video blog. You know, I think it's important to recognize that a related problem is that much of the business software that's being developed to help companies like airlines manage ticket sales or banks to process transactions was written in COBOL, which in layman's terms means common business-oriented language. It's a computer language that rose in popularity along with mainframes and then declined as the mainframes also declined as a business model, an IT model. So here we are in a situation where it's hard to find people who can maintain the machines, but it is also hard to find people who can change the software too. Most software developed with COBOL experience have retired, and it's no longer commonly studied in university, Mark, as you make that point. Now, the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic has vividly demonstrated, it's truly encapsulated why we need mainframe and COBOL expertise. Many government systems cannot be easily changed without this knowledge and expertise. The $2.2 trillion CARES Act passed in the United States earlier this year in March included a $600 a week increase in unemployment benefits for American citizens. But until the individual states can update their systems to reflect the new law, nobody's getting that extra cash. Take, for instance, in Oklahoma, it's taking over 2 weeks, over 14 days to process unemployment claims. Newly unemployed citizens have a right to these extra benefits during the crisis. And yet, because the mainframe systems are so slow and so cumbersome, and COBOL programmers are so scarce, people just aren't getting the help they need. The last time Gartner counted COBOL experts in the United States was in 2004. Now, at that time, they counted 2 million. But they also noted that each year, there was about 5% of those same experts that were retiring. Now, I'll be perfectly frank with you, I might not be a PhD in calculus, but according to my math, that means that now a great deal of them have retired, if not all of them. There are mainframes out there that are delivering critical infrastructure, and they're using billions of lines of COBOL code that very few people today understand. The problem is made worse because anybody who studies COBOL today would find themselves focusing on maintenance work. And let's be frank, that's not as inspiring as launching a new application. The reliance on mainframes and COBOL has been highlighted by this pandemic. These systems need to be managed more effectively. Now we're going to throw it open to our Q&A session. We're very lucky today to have Andrei Lepeyev from the IBA group to answer a few questions on this. Andrei, welcome to the video blog.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you tell me, Andrei, just to kick off our discussion, how long has IBA been working on mainframes?
Actually, our company have been working with mainframe since their foundation, actually, since 1993, more than 27 years already. Moreover, from the beginning, it wasn't from scratch because one of our founders was a Scientific Computer Institute. There was a big amount of former mainframers, actually.
Great, thank you.
Andrei, can I ask you then, what type of work are you doing? Is it just modernizing old systems that have been around for a long time?
Actually, the whole range of different mainframe services is still on demand. And we still work on classical tasks like system administration or support of legacy system. At the same time, we do a number of projects on mainframe modernization as well.
Excellent. So taking on the theme of Mark's question, Andrei, I'd like to go a little bit further and put some context to this. You know, as I think about mainframes, they've always been used as the workhorse, or as a workhorse by transactional systems that we've talked about, like bank processing or airline ticketing systems. From your experience, or from what you've been observing, has anything changed over the years, or are they still the same machines that were being developed 25, 30, 40 years ago?
Well, actually, on the one hand, mainframes remains unbeaten in the sense of security and input-output operations, and they're still on high demand for transactional applications. And moreover, transactional capacities of modern mainframes are decreasing year by year. And on the other hand, the world is changing and mainframe management process is changing, and we're trying to keep up with this.
Thank you.
Andrei, that's interesting because you mentioned there about improved mainframe management. Have you actually managed to apply any automation, such as like automated fault detection or monitoring systems?
Well, yeah. For example, we developed our own solution with the name AppPulse that monitors operability of business applications that runs on systems there. What's more, with the help of machine learning, the tool offers efficient solutions of different problems. And in addition, the tool provides the possibility for experience management, which is very important in this area because the experts are on high demand nowadays.
Okay, now let's take the discussion to a bit of a different angle, Andrei. Does a structured approach to DevOps, which means software development and operations for those with less knowledge of IT, improve the scalability of mainframes? Or does a more structured approach improve the functionality of the system?
Well, actually, DevOps concept is of great importance for mainframe because functional scalability is one of the most vulnerable places in the mainframe area, actually. And regardless the fact that the majority of different DevOps tools were developed and target at Windows or Linux platforms, Mainframe has no choice but to progress in this area as well. And it really works, actually. We see notable scalability increase in a number of our projects for different customers.
Thank you.
Andrei, that's interesting you mentioned that, because when I was researching these questions that I wanted to ask you, I read that you've actually created graphical user interfaces for some mainframes. I mean, I never imagined a mainframe with a GUI, like a Windows kind of interface. Is that kind of modernization really possible now?
Yeah, actually, we have quite a long history in GUI implementation, starting with mid-2000s, I would say. It was Open Pegasus initiative under DMTF organization, and at that time, and after that, we implemented a range of our own applications, interfaces for mainframe, and recently we joined a well-known Zoe initiative, which is worldwide nowadays, to bring mainframes to young generation.
Great stuff. So Andrei, final question here. I'd like to give it some geographic context, if you don't mind. Why do you think that COBOL has declined in locations such as the United States, but as an organization, IBA Group has been able to retain not just older developers, but been able to actually engage younger ones that are interested in studying COBOL and other legacy languages?
Well, I cannot tell for the whole world, but in our case, it's a combination of a great number of talented IT youngsters graduated from our universities. And on the other hand, it is initiative of our company. So we have several labs which provide specific education for these people, for these young talented people. And then we provide a paid internship. And what is the most important, we provide really good projects with big fishes in the area for these people. So when they enter our company, they're already on a prestigious project. I think
Thanks.
maybe that is the key.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Mark and Peter, very much for joining us and for sharing your insights. Thank you, everyone, for watching this video. If you would like to have any more information on the subject discussed, please leave your comments below.